Chapter 4673. Oh my God, there is not only light vine here, but also 7 snake cloud fruit, flame fish grass. Linny didn't know what to say. These treasures were rare. She didn't expect them to be gathered together in an underground market stall. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, it would have been hard to believe. Linny was at a loss for words. Bailey Hongzhuang's delicate face was also surprised, but she was more curious about the stall owner. The stall owner was an old man with a white beard on his chin. Even though so many people surrounded his stall at this moment, he still looked indifferent. He even held a book in his hand, but she didn't know whether he was reading it or not. Stall owner, can I exchange a bottle of 8th grade elixir for this light vine? At this moment, a man asked aloud. Hearing this, the stall owner raised his eyes lazily and said, "What 8th grade elixir?" 8th grade cloud breakthrough pill. Following the man's words, all the cultivators present cried out in surprise. 8th grade cloud breakthrough pill could help cultivators break through from the starlight realm to the nebula realm. Above the starlight realm, it was very difficult to break through a major level each time. However, with the help of elixir, the possibility of breaking through would be greatly increased. Therefore, the value of this kind of elixir could be said to be rising. It was the favorite of cultivators. The man actually offered a bottle of cloud breakthrough pill. How could people not be envious? There are 10 cloud breakthrough pills in a whole bottle. The value is extremely high. Yes, there are not many 8th grade alchemists. What's more, the refining of this cloud breakthrough pill is not easy, so the price is extremely high. I am afraid that this light vine will be traded away. Everyone sighed. If it were them, such a deal would be worth it. The man smiled. He actually gritted his teeth before deciding to take out this bottle of cloud breakthrough pill because he already had the cloud breakthrough pill, and this light vine was more useful to him. However, just when everyone thought that this deal would be successful, the stall owner waved his hand, "Not trading." As soon as these words came out, the man couldn't help but be stunned. He said after a long while, "Why? Why? If I don't want to exchange, then I won't exchange." The stall owner said lazily. Everyone was speechless when they saw the stall owner ignoring the cloud-breaking pill. He didn't even care about such a treasure. However, thinking about how the stall owner had so many treasures, everyone understood that the stall owner must be someone who was used to seeing treasures. That was why he was so calm. After being rejected just like that, the man was a little depressed. However, looking at the bright vine, he was still unwilling to give up. He could not help but ask, "What can I offer in exchange for this bright vine?" "I haven't decided yet," the stall owner answered matter-of-factly. Hearing this, everyone was speechless. If you don't know what to exchange for, then how am I supposed to know what to exchange for? The man suppressed the anger in his heart and asked, "If I knew what to exchange, wouldn't I just write it down? Why would I waste my time waiting for all of you to ask me questions one by one?" The stall owner rolled his eyes with an expression that said, "Are you an idiot?" Faced with the stall owner's expression, the man felt like crying but had no tears. "Am I an idiot? You're the weirdo, all right?" Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the stall owner's expression and couldn't help but laugh. This stall owner's personality was really too interesting. Chapter 4674. Not only Lin Yi, but many cultivators around couldn't help but chuckle. However, it was not directed at this man. They also felt that the stall owner's explanation was really frustrating. The charm of the light vine was still great. In a short time, many people came to inquire. The proposed conditions were not bad, but they were all rejected by the stall owner. Bailey Hongzhuang stood aside but did not speak. Her gaze fell on the light vine. She found a problem. There were 5 small words written in front of this light vine, 100-year light vine. However, according to her judgment, this was not a 100-year light vine, but a millennium light vine. On the surface, there wasn't much difference between a 100-year illuminating vine and a 1,000-year illuminating vine. Many people would confuse them. However, she had read in a book that the surface of a 1,000-year illuminating vine had a faint layer of purple. This purple was very light. If people who didn't know about it carefully looked at it, they would not notice it at all. In fact, There were only a few people who could recognize it among so many people present. The value of the Millennium Illuminating Vine was much higher than the 100-Year Illuminating Vine. If the name of the Millennium Illuminating Vine were to spread, it was likely that it would attract many more people. Did the old man in front of me really not recognize it? Bailey Hongzhuang thought in her heart. If I exchange a Millennium Light Vine with the price of a 100-Year Light Vine, I will make a lot of money. However, this is a bit too much of an advantage. After thinking about it, she still felt that she shouldn't do this. Although it would save a lot of money, since the other party could take out so many heaven and earth treasures, the force behind him must not be simple. If the other party knew about it afterward and came to find trouble, it would be really troublesome. What's more, even if the other party didn't know about it, he would feel embarrassed if he met her again in the future. This person has so many treasures. There might be a time to exchange in the future. Thinking of this, Bailey Hongzhuang also made a decision. Second cousin-in-law, this stall owner's vision is so high that he doesn't fancy so many treasures. I'm afraid there is not much possibility for us to exchange. Linny sighed. She couldn't think of a way to meet such a high requirement. I want to try. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled lightly. She had been observing this old man for a long time. As a doctor and an alchemist, she found that he seemed to have some hidden illness. Since the other party didn't know what he wanted in exchange, if he could take out something that could cure the other party's hidden illness, perhaps the other party would agree. Not only that, if her judgment wasn't wrong, the other party should be an alchemist, and his grade wasn't low either. This was because she noticed that when many cultivators took out pills to exchange, this old man's expression was extremely calm, and there was not even the slightest ripple in his eyes. Logically speaking, the value of these medicinal pills was not cheap. No matter what, he should be somewhat moved. However, the other party's heart was as calm as still water. There was only one possibility. He could refine them himself, so he did not put these medicinal pills in his eyes at all. What could make an alchemist's eyes light up? That was the pill formula. Bailey Hongzhuang was sure that as long as she took out a valuable pill formula, the other party would definitely agree to trade with her. She didn't have any spirit stones, but she did have this lost pill formula. This level of pill formula was a priceless treasure in the eyes of alchemists. Chapter 4675. Shao family's eldest miss is here. She must have heard that there is a light vine here, so she came. It seems that the charm of this light vine is really great. It has attracted the next generation of light saint. I think that even if she comes, she may not be able to exchange for this light vine. After all, the character of this stall owner is very peculiar. In the midst of everyone's discussion, a yellow figure slowly appeared in front of the stall. After Bailey Hongzhuang heard that Xiao So appeared, her gaze also changed a bit. In the past, she didn't have any feelings for Xiao So. Her only impression was that the other party would be the next generation of light saint. But now, after knowing that Bewitching and Xiao So once had an engagement, this feeling became completely different. Lin Yi didn't expect Xiao So to suddenly come here. She subconsciously looked at Bailey Hongzhuang on the side. There was a trace of worry deep in her eyes. After getting along with her for this period of time, she liked her second cousin-in-law very much. Although her identity and status couldn't be compared with Xiao So, she felt that her cultivation and ability were not worse than Xiao So. The most important thing was that her second cousin-in-law was much easier to get along with. She didn't have Xiao So's aloof appearance at all. However, she knew that Xiao So was interested in her second cousin. Now that they met here, her second cousin-in-law was likely to suffer a loss. Thinking of this, Lin Yi subconsciously pulled Bailey Hongzhuang and wanted to leave. Second cousin-in-law, we have seen enough. Why don't we go first? Lin Yi said with a smile. However, when she said this, she found that Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze had already looked behind her. She followed Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze and found that she and Xiao So had already begun to exchange gazes. Lin Yi's heart suddenly thumped. It seems that this trouble is unavoidable. As soon as Xiao So entered the crowd, she noticed a woman in a white dress. The simple and elegant white dress on her body revealed a unique aura. Her exquisite facial features seemed to have been meticulously carved by the heavens. Every inch of her face was exquisite to the extreme, making it impossible for people to nitpick. She had a pair of bright eyes that were overflowing with light. Her lips were vermilion and her skin was white like the crescent moon. There was a faint smile on her lips that was impossible to ignore. She seemed to be the most eye-catching person here, and as long as someone came close, they would not be able to ignore her existence. When she saw Bailey Hongzhuang, Xiao So was shocked. Even though she was a woman, she had to admit that this woman was extremely beautiful. Just as he was guessing which force this woman came from, he noticed Lin Yi beside her. Most importantly, she heard Lin Yi address this woman as second cousin-in-law. She clearly remembered that Lin Yi called Di Beichen as second cousin before, so the identity of this second cousin-in-law was obvious. Di Beichen's wife. It was because of this woman in front of her that Di Beichen did not hesitate to refuse the marriage contract with her. Previously, she wondered why Di Beichen would make such a choice when the other party was just a woman from the underworld. However, now she suddenly understood. Chapter 4676. This was the first time Bailey Hongzhuang saw Xiao So. As described by Lin Yi before, Xiao So had an outstanding appearance and outstanding temperament, but she had an insufferably arrogant aura. Lin Yi clearly felt that the other party's gaze was full of contempt and disdain. It was an indescribable sense of pride, as if Lin Yi was standing there, and Lin Yi could not be compared with her in this life. It was like a powerhouse looking at an ant. However, in Lin Yi's opinion, the other party was wrong. Xiao So was not a powerhouse, and she was not an ant. I thought that Di Beichen, who was found by the Di family, would be a character. I didn't expect him to be just a playboy who is obsessed with beauty. Xiao So looked straight at Bailey Hongzhuang. She did not avoid the taboo in her words. She seemed to be mocking Di Beichen, but in fact, she directly pointed out that Bailey Hongzhuang was just a pretty face. Seeing that Xiao So was so rude, Lin Yi couldn't help but frown. She knew very well that her second cousin was not a playboy at all, and her second cousin-in-law was definitely not a pretty face. Xiao So, what do you mean by this? Lin Yi asked with a gloomy gaze. Xiao So chuckled, didn't I make it clear? Lin Yi looked indignant. In the past, Xiao So was just as famous as her. It was just that after the identity of the next generation of Holy Maiden of Light, Xiao So's identity had risen. Now, she did not put many people in her eyes. Just when Lin Yi was about to argue with the other party, Bailey Hongzhuang pulled her and glanced at Xiao So faintly, it's better than nothing. As soon as these words came out, Xiao So was stunned at first. After realizing Bailey Hongzhuang's meaning, her face suddenly became pale. Bailey Hongzhuang was saying that she was not as good-looking as her. Miss Xiao, is this lady the wife of the second young master of the Di family? At this moment, the man standing beside Xiao So could not help but ask. Xiao So nodded slightly. That's right. She is Di Beichen's wife. Jun Lingxuan had a look of realization on his face. He had seen this woman a few days ago when he went to the Di family's elixir store with the Great Elder. There were many members of the Di family present at that time, but this woman had left a deep impression on him, because her appearance was simply too outstanding. As the young master of the Jun family, he had seen many beauties, but none of them could compare to the woman in front of him. However, he didn't expect this woman to be Di Beichen's wife. It turns out to be the wife of the second young master of the Di family, but why haven't I seen her before? Jun Lingxuan was a little baffled. For the second young master of the Di family who had just returned, there had been a lot of speculation in the outside world. As for the real situation, no one knew about it except for the Di family. Xiao So chuckled, she is just a woman from the underworld. Naturally, you have not seen her before. Underworld? Jun Lingxuan was stunned. Then, an incredible light appeared in his eyes. The wife of the second young master of the Di family is actually a woman from the underworld? The standard of the Di family has been getting lower and lower in recent years. Xiao So smiled and nodded, you are right. Hey, don't go overboard with your words. Lin Yi looked angry. She didn't expect these two guys to be so excessive. Chapter 4677. What I said is the truth. What's wrong with that? Xiao Sou's lips curled into a mocking smile. Her expression was full of arrogance. Although Bailey Hongzhuang's appearance was indeed better than hers, other than that, Bailey Hongzhuang could not compare to her at all. She would let Bewitching understand how stupid it was to cancel his engagement with her. For a woman who only had a beautiful appearance, he would affect the interests of his family. This was something that only a good-for-nothing would do. During this time, the more she thought about it, the angrier she became. The development of the Jun family over the years was not much weaker than the D family. However, Jun Lingxuan had been coaxing her like this. In contrast, Di Beichen was dismissive of her. She was furious when she thought of the situation at that time. Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly took a step forward. Her clear and intimidating eyes looked directly at Xiao Sou. Everything you said is just to cover up that you have lost to me. Most of the time, the stronger you appear, the more cowardly you are in fact. Your disguise is meaningless. There was a faint smile on her delicate and perfect face. Her deep and charming eyes seemed to be able to see through people's hearts. She was very clear about Xiao Sou's thoughts. At this moment, all the belittling was just to vent her anger. But in terms of feelings, Xiao Sou would always be defeated by her. As soon as these words came out, Xiao Sou paused. The words she wanted to say were stuck in her throat. Looking at the woman in front of her eyes that seemed to be able to see through her soul, she only felt that all her disguises were seen through. She felt inexplicably embarrassed. She understood what Bailey Hongzhuang said. In terms of Di Beichen, she was indeed defeated by Bailey Hongzhuang. Lin Yi was originally worried that Bailey Hongzhuang would suffer in the face of Xiao Sou, but she did not expect her second cousin-in-law to be so domineering. Is this considered hitting the nail on the head? You're thinking too much. I didn't lose, and I won't lose to you. Xiao Sou's eyes were cold. She was a proud daughter of heaven. How could she be defeated by a country bumpkin? Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled, not caring about Xiao Seiwu's emphasis. Her voice was cold as she said, "If you really didn't care, then you wouldn't have been so eager to belittle and attack me when you saw me. It's just like how the strong are strong. Even if you don't say it, others will know. However, you are clearly not one of them." Bailey Hongzhuang remained indifferent throughout. No matter how unpleasant Xiao Sou's previous derogatory remarks were, she didn't seem to take them to heart at all. At this moment, her words were clearly not sarcastic. She was merely stating a fact, but it made everyone feel that Xiao Sou was extremely embarrassed. Because, in contrast, Bailey Hongzhuang was obviously more dignified. Everyone was secretly surprised when they saw that after the confrontation between Bailey Hongzhuang and Xiao Sou, it turned out that Xiao Sou was at a disadvantage. I didn't expect the loser to be Xiao Sou. This is incredible. This woman is the second young madam of the D family. She is not a simple character. Previously, I thought that Xiao Sou must have the absolute upper hand. Although the other party is from the underworld, her bearing is not comparable to ordinary people. If it were an ordinary person, they would have already been angry in the face of Xiao Sou's merciless sarcasm. However, Bailey Hongzhuang could deal with it so calmly. It was really eye-catching. Chapter 4678. He thought that there would be no objection to the result of this confrontation, but he did not expect such a result. He had already heard about the annulment of the engagement between Xiao Sou and Di Beichen. He also knew that Xiao Sou was very dissatisfied with Di Beichen. Therefore, he planned to take this opportunity to pursue Xiao Sou. As long as he pursued Xiao Sou, the Xiao family and the Jun family would become one camp. In this way, it would be much easier to deal with the Di family. Therefore, he had been trying his best to invite Xiao Sou to travel with him these days. Today, he took the opportunity of having Light Vine here to invite her out. Originally, when Xiao Sou was at a disadvantage, he should have helped her. But at this moment, he didn't know how to help in the battle between the two women. After all, it was really inappropriate for a man to intervene in this situation. Little girl, the other party is just a woman from the underworld. Why do you have to care about her? Talking more will only lower your status. We are here for the Light Vine. Jun Lingxuan said aloud. Listening to Jun Lingxuan's words, Xiao Sou nodded and glanced at Bailey Hongzhuang coldly. I don't want to talk more with you. Naturally, I don't want to talk more. Lin Yi sneered. If she was still a little afraid of Xiao Sou's identity before, after seeing the other party with the Jun family today, she didn't care anymore. The Jun family was their opposing family. Since Xiao Sou was on good terms with them, they were also opposing forces. In this case, there was no need to be polite. Xiao Sou didn't expect Lin Yi to suddenly say such a thing at this moment. She said angrily, "Lin Yi, do you want to compete with me? If Miss Xiao wants to compete, you can come directly to me. My sister is still young. If you fight with her, you will be accused of bullying the young." At this moment, a woman's voice came over. The figure directly blocked in front of Lin Yi. Seeing this person appear, Lin Yi's face suddenly showed a little surprise. "Sister." The woman nodded slightly and glanced at Lin Yi helplessly. "Didn't you say to meet us first?" Lin Yi stuck out her tongue, feeling a little guilty. "So it's Lin Qianqian." Xiao Sou looked at the woman in front of her and sneered. "That's right, it's me." Lin Qianqian did not back down at all. "I heard that you're about to become the next saint of the light. I'm very interested in fighting with you. That way, I can say that the saint of the light is my defeated opponent in the future." As soon as he said that, Xiao Sou's face turned ugly. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Lin Qianqian in surprise. She didn't expect Xiao Sou to be weak as soon as she appeared. "Second cousin-in-law, Xiao Sou once fought with my sister a few years ago, but she lost. So, she basically took a detour when she saw my sister over the years. Even if her cultivation has improved now, I believe that she is still not my sister's opponent," Lin Yi explained in a low voice. Although her voice was low, several people nearby could still vaguely hear it. Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly realized that Xiao Sou was very strong. It turned out that Lin Qianqian was stronger. Chapter 4679. Seeing that Xiao Sou was suppressed by Lin Qianqian, Jun Lingxuan immediately stood up and said, "If you really want to compete, Miss Xiao doesn't need to do it. I will compete on her behalf." Noticing Jun Lingxuan's move, Xiao Sou's eyes flashed with a different light. She suddenly had a better impression of him. Jun Lingxuan naturally did not ignore the change in Xiao Sou's eyes. He was overjoyed. Now his goal was to get Xiao Sou's favor. He was a man of great ambition. He didn't care about appearance, character, and so on. The only thing he cared about was value. As long as the Xiao family was tied to them, the development of the Jun family would be stronger than before. After seeing Jun Lingxuan stand up, Lin Qianqian's eyes also turned cold. I didn't expect the relationship between the Xiao family and the Jun family to be so close now. So what? Jun Lingxuan smiled. What he wanted was to let everyone know that the relationship between the Xiao family and their Jun family was better now. Xiao Sou couldn't help but frown after hearing Jun Lingxuan's words. She instinctively felt that something was wrong, but thinking that Jun Lingxuan had been helping her just now, she put this feeling aside. "Jun Lingxuan, are you bullying my Lin family?" A man also came forward. His outstanding temperament was not weaker than Jun Lingxuan. "Second cousin-in-law, this is my Lin family's eldest brother, Lin Taxing." Lin Yi whispered to Bailey Hongzhuang. People from these forces would meet each other, so everyone was familiar with him. However, second cousin-in-law had just come from the lower realm, and it was her first time participating in such an event. She didn't understand the situation. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. She had heard of the most outstanding child of the Lin family, Lin Taxing. Seeing him today, he was really extraordinary. "Lin Taxing, you are here too." Jun Lingxuan saw Lin Taxing suddenly appear, and there was a hint of surprise in his eyes. Not bad. In the face of Jun Lingxuan, Lin Taxing was not weak at all. "If you want to compete, I'll accompany you to the end." The onlookers couldn't help but sigh when they saw the two sides opposing each other. From the looks of it, a fight was unavoidable. However, at this moment, the stall owner's voice suddenly rang out. "Young people, if you want to fight, then fight outside. Don't interfere with my business here." Hearing this voice, Xiao Sou and Jun Lingxuan finally remembered that the most important reason they had come here was for the radiant vine. "I can't be bothered to argue with you." Xiao Sou coldly glanced at Bailey Hongzhuang and the others, but she had already remembered all of this in her heart. She believed that Bailey Hongzhuang would definitely enter the Immortal Cloud's secret realm. It wouldn't be too late for her to settle all her grudges after entering the Immortal Cloud's secret realm. Right now, the most important thing to her was the Radiant Vine. Even though the news that she was about to become the next Saint of the Light has spread, she knew very well that her talents have yet to reach 100%. The seniors of the Light Sacred Assembly were all thinking of ways to help her. Every generation of the Saint of the Light had 100% attribute talent, and she needed to reach at least 99%. Not only could the Radiant Vine increase a cultivator's understanding of attributes, but it could also purify a cultivator's talents. This was a great temptation to her. If her talent index could be raised again, she would no longer need to hold the title of the next generation. Instead, she could become the true Saint of the Light. Chapter 4680. Nothing was more attractive to her than the illuminating vine. Fortunately, the illuminating vine was still here. As Xiaoso carefully sized up the bright vine, her eyes suddenly lit up, and a look of pleasant surprise flashed in her eyes. She did not expect the stall owner to be so stupid as to sell the illuminating vine without even knowing its age. Previously, she had always wanted the illuminating vine, so she knew a lot about it, including the age of the illuminating vine. The value of the 100-year illuminating vine was already very high, let alone the 1,000-year illuminating vine. Its effect was not as simple as doubling its value. She did not expect her luck to be so good as to see the 1,000-year illuminating vine in the underground market. Otherwise, even she would not have the confidence to obtain it at an auction. That was because the illuminating vine was simply too attractive. Suppressing the ecstasy and excitement in her heart, Xiaoso said, "Stall owner, what do you think if I exchange these items with you?" Immediately after, a few items appeared in Xiaoso's hands. Everyone took a closer look, and a covetous look appeared in their eyes. That's the dripping cloud fruit and the evergreen flower. The dripping cloud fruit was the main ingredient for refining the cloud-breaking pill, and it was also very precious. However, it was clearly far inferior to the illuminating vine. However, the effect of the evergreen flower was similar to that of the illuminating vine, except that the evergreen flower was only effective for wood-type cultivators. Xiaoso had a confident smile on her face. Previously, Jun Lingxuan had already told her that the stall owner was a wood-type cultivator. Therefore, to the stall owner, the evergreen flower was obviously more effective. As expected, the stall owner's eyes lit up when he saw the evergreen flower in Xiaoso's hands, and his expression fluctuated. Previously, the items that many cultivators had taken out did not cause the stall owner's expression to change at all. His reaction at this moment was clearly tempting. After seeing the evergreen flower and noticing the stall owner's reaction, Bailey Hongzhuang immediately understood. It turned out that Xiaoso had come prepared. She had already known that the stall owner was a wood-type cultivator. However, although the stall owner's heart was in turmoil, he did not immediately answer Xiaoso. Seeing this, Xiaoso could not help but frown. She was a little puzzled. Could it be that these things are not enough? The stall owner pondered for a moment before waving his hand. Xiaoso's expression immediately turned ugly. To be honest, the value of these two items added together was about the same as the light vine. It was just that the light vine was harder to obtain. At this moment, Jun Lingxuan took out another item. These two items plus the spiritual immortal grass should be enough, right? Hearing that, Xiaoso looked at Jun Lingxuan in surprise and could not help but ask, "Young Master Jun, this?" The spiritual celestial grass was also a very precious treasure. It could help a cultivator stabilize their cultivation and get rid of pill toxins. It was common knowledge that in the later stages of cultivation, one would inevitably need medicinal pills in order to make a breakthrough. However, taking too many medicinal pills would produce medicinal toxins that would affect the cultivator's potential. The spiritual celestial grass was a treasure that could get rid of pill toxins. Hence, although the spiritual celestial grass could not help in raising one's cultivation, it was still something that cultivators needed. "Miss Xiao, take this as a gift from me to you." Jun Lingxuan smiled gracefully. Chapter 4681. Young Master Jun, thank you very much. Xiao Sou said gratefully, I will find a way to return it to you after I go back. Jun Lingxuan smiled lightly, Miss Xiao, you are too polite. I consider myself to be good friends, and this is just a small gift. Why should I take it to heart? Don't tell me. Miss Xiao doesn't think so? Hearing this, Xiao Sou paused, and then the smile on her face became brighter. Lin Yi on the side couldn't help but snort coldly, hypocrite. Second cousin-in-law, if this light vine is really obtained by Xiao Sou, it will be troublesome. Lin Yi was a little anxious. If the Xiao family had a good relationship with them, Xiao Sou's promotion would not affect them. But now, the relationship between the Xiao family and the Jun family was so close. If Xiao Sou's identity rose again, it would be a big problem for them. Lin Qianqian's face was also a little gloomy. We have to find a way to snatch this light vine. It's a pity that we didn't get the news before, and we don't have such valuable treasures on us. If we go back now, it will be too late. Lin Taxing's gaze was deep and complicated. It was not a good thing for their opponent to become stronger. However, it was obviously not easy to stop all of this now. Unless they waited for Xiao Sou to get it and then snatched it. But now, many forces in the entire Qishui city had gathered. It was almost impossible to make a move without being targeted. At that time, it would only cause the conflict between the two families to erupt in advance. Stall owner, these 3 things should be enough to exchange for your light vine, right? Xiao Sou said again. The stall owner looked at the 3 things in front of him, but his expression was still the same as before. Although these 3 things are good, but isn't this enough? Xiao Sou frowned. She knew in her heart that if it was 100-year light vine, these 3 things were enough. But if it was a millennium light vine, it was obviously not enough. However, based on the content written on it, the old man should not have recognized the year. In that case, why did he keep refusing? I'm not exchanging. The old man smiled and waved his hand. As soon as he said that, Xiao Sou and Jun Lingxuan's expressions turned ugly. Stall owner, are you messing with us on purpose? Jun Lingxuan's gaze was gloomy, and his low and hoarse voice was filled with threat and displeasure. Could it be that the other party had no intention of exchanging the light vine at all, and was deliberately toying with them? If I'm not exchanging, then I'm not exchanging. What does it have to do with you guys? As far as I know, many people have come to exchange for this light vine, but you haven't agreed. Could it be that you want to find out who has what treasure so that you can secretly make a move? Jun Lingxuan had a malicious look in his eyes. From the very beginning, he had felt that this stall owner was very strange. He had taken out too many treasures, but now that so many people had come, he still refused to trade. It was hard to believe that this stall owner did not have ulterior motives. As Jun Lingxuan's voice fell, the gazes of the cultivators present changed. Previously, no one had thought of this. Now that Jun Lingxuan had reminded them, everyone realized that there was indeed such a possibility. If that's really the case, then it's too scary. Who would have thought of that? However, this old man has delayed for so long and still refused to agree. It's indeed a little strange. Chapter 4682. Facing everyone's discussions and speculations, the stall owner didn't care. He just glanced at Jun Lingxuan and Xiao Sou lazily and waved his hand. If you don't want to exchange, just leave. You are hindering my business here. Do you know who we are? Jun Lingxuan's gaze became gloomy. The stall owner in front of him really angered him. If the things he took out were not enough, it would be fine. It was obviously a good deal, but the other party deliberately made things difficult. How could he not be angry? What does it have to do with me, who you are? The old man looked cold and waved his hand. Don't talk nonsense in front of me. Go. Being driven away by the stall owner without any mercy, Xiao Sou and Jun Lingxuan both had a trace of annoyance in their eyes. They were also people with status. If they were treated like this, it would be a joke if it was spread out. On the contrary, everyone in the Lin family breathed a sigh of relief after seeing this scene. Looking at this situation, the possibility of the light vine being taken away by Xiao Sou was very small. Just when the dispute was about to erupt, Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly said, "Senior, can you understand what I took out?" As the voice of Bailey Hongzhuang fell, everyone was stunned. They did not expect that at this critical moment, there would be someone who would rush out and touch the bad luck. The most important thing was that this person was Bailey Hongzhuang, who had a conflict with Xiao Sou before. This was really a good show. Xiao Sou sneered on the spot. You? What kind of treasure can a person from the lower realm take out? I advise you not to embarrass yourself here. Not only Xiao Sou, but Lin Yi and others were also stunned when they saw Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly stood up. The stall owner was obviously unwilling to exchange anything. If Bailey Hongzhuang didn't stand up, Xiao Sou and others would have become a joke. But now that Bailey Hongzhuang stood up, it was equivalent to having another person as a scapegoat. Lin Qianqian and Lin Taxing looked at each other and couldn't help frowning. They already knew about this Bailey Hongzhuang from the family master, but they didn't expect her to act so rashly. It was somewhat inconsistent with the situation they learned before. The stall owner looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with interest and said, "Little girl, what do you want to exchange with me? The things I take out will definitely be what you want." Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curved into a confident smile. Hearing this, the stall owner was slightly taken aback. Then he chuckled, "I haven't even thought about what I want. How can you be sure that the thing you take out must be what I want? Take it out and show it to me." Under everyone's expectant gaze, Bailey Hongzhuang took out a pen and paper and wrote the content on the paper. Seeing this, everyone couldn't help but sneer. I thought she would take out some treasure. She just wrote a few words on this paper. Is it possible to exchange it? Isn't this a joke? I think this woman is also trying to please the crowd with claptrap. What good thing can a woman from the lower realm have? Lin Yi couldn't help but pull Bailey Hongzhuang's sleeve and reminded, "Second cousin-in-law, don't worry." Bailey Hongzhuang returned a smile, but she did not stop her actions. Chapter 4683. Faced with the stall owner's doubts, Bailey Hongzhuang was extremely calm. "Senior, don't be anxious. You can take a look first. If you don't agree, at most we won't make this deal." Looking at Bailey Hongzhuang's confident and certain look, the stall owner took the slip of paper in half disbelief. After he had finished reading the contents of the slip of paper, his gaze suddenly changed. "Is what you've written true?" Bailey Hongzhuang gently nodded. "Of course it's true." "Do you know the meaning of what you've written?" The stall owner put away his lazy look and his gaze became serious and deep. "Stall owner, don't worry. Since I've written it, it must be true. Besides, I'm a member of the D family. The monk can run away, but the temple can't run away. I definitely won't lie to you about this kind of thing." Her devastatingly beautiful face was shrouded in a confident glow. Her rosy lips gently raised into an elegant and beautiful smile. Bailey Hongzhuang only stood there quietly, but she was like a bright pearl emitting a dazzling radiance. The stall owner fixed his gaze on Bailey Hongzhuang and said, "All right, I'll make this deal." Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang's smile widened. She had always been confident that as long as she mentioned it, the stall owner would definitely agree. Compared to Bailey Hongzhuang's indifference, everyone present was dumbfounded. Especially Jun Lingxuan. Previously he had said that this stall owner had set up a stall here as a cover and that he didn't really want to make an exchange. However, in the blink of an eye, the stall owner had completed the deal with Bailey Hongzhuang. Wasn't this a slap in the face? Furthermore, the slap in the face was so swift that it made him feel a burning pain. His heart was extremely gloomy. Why didn't Bailey Hongzhuang mention the deal earlier? At least he wouldn't have been slapped in the face on the spot. Xiao Sou's face was filled with disbelief. She had just said that Bailey Hongzhuang, a person from the lower realm, would never be able to take out any treasures. However, in the blink of an eye, that stall owner who had never placed anything in her eyes had agreed without any hesitation. Most importantly, they had not seen Bailey Hongzhuang take out any valuable treasures. She had only written a few words on a piece of paper and the stall owner had agreed? What kind of character was this? How could it be so valuable? At the same time, Lin Yi and others were dumbfounded. Previously, he thought that Bailey Hongzhuang was being too impulsive because the stall owner's standards were too high. It was impossible for Bailey Hongzhuang to take out something that could be exchanged with him. But Bailey Hongzhuang did it, and she did it so easily. Lin Yi's lips twitched slightly. She looked at Lin Qianqian on the side. I seem to have underestimated second cousin-in-law. Lin Qianqian also looked at Lin Taxing. Their judgment just now seemed to be wrong. It seems that the family master's judgment will not be wrong. Lin Taxing said slowly. According to the family master's description, although Bailey Hongzhuang came from the lower realm, her conduct, ability, and even vision were not worse than the cultivators in the upper realm. For this reason, the family master also specifically emphasized not to be arrogant in front of Bailey Hongzhuang. If the other party had lived in the upper realm since she was a child, they would not be Bailey Hongzhuang's opponent. When they first heard this, they still didn't believe it. However, after seeing the scene in front of them, this idea became firm. That was because they couldn't even reach a deal with him. Chapter 4684. You should know that the value of the item you're offering is not low. It's even more valuable than this light vine. Don't you think that you've made a loss in this transaction? The stall owner looked at Bailey Hongzhuang and put away the piece of paper in his hand as he slowly asked. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. Senior, I believe that you're very clear about the value of this light vine. If this was only a 100-year light vine, the item I'm offering is naturally far more valuable than this. However, this is a 1,000-year light vine, so it's different. Following Bailey Hongzhuang's words, the surrounding cultivators were stunned once again. Then, their eyes lit up as they stared at the light vine. So this light vine was actually a 1,000-year light vine. A 100-year light vine was already very rare. The value of a 1,000-year light vine was even more indescribable. However, the label clearly stated that it was a 100-year light vine. Xiao Sou's heart thumped when she heard Bailey Hongzhuang's words. She had thought that she was the only one who had noticed this. She never thought that Bailey Hongzhuang would notice it as well. The stall owner chuckled. Young lady, you're very honest. After receiving the stall owner's reply, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes became even clearer. It seemed that her judgment was not wrong. This stall owner had already recognized the light vine's age. As for why he would do this, she could not understand. Perhaps he really did want to play a trick on her. When the crowd saw that the stall owner had agreed with Bailey Hongzhuang's point of view, they could not help but be dumbfounded. No wonder this stall owner had been unwilling to make the exchange. So this was the crux of the matter. If they were in his shoes, they would definitely not make the exchange unless they were stupid. I never thought that this would actually be a 1,000-year light vine. This is my first time seeing it. Then the value of this light vine is really shocking. I wonder what this young lady from the D family had offered in exchange for the stall owner to agree immediately? I heard that the Xiao family had previously intended to help Xiao Soa find a light vine. Logically speaking, Xiao Soa should be very familiar with the light vine. Do you think she was able to recognize the age of this light vine? As one of the cultivators voiced his doubts, everyone's gaze turned to Xiao Soa. They didn't usually come into contact with the light vine, so it was normal that they couldn't tell its age. However, with Xiao Soa's situation, it was a little unreasonable that they couldn't recognize it. If she recognized it, then the things she took out before were deliberately to take advantage of this stall owner. It would have been fine if no one knew about it, but now that they had Bailey Hongzhuang as a comparison, Xiao Soa was naturally at a disadvantage. Xiao Soa's expression was a little unnatural. She didn't expect that this problem would suddenly involve her. If he said that he did not recognize her, it meant that he admitted that his knowledge was not as good as Bailey Hongzhuang's. If he said that he recognized it, then it would be true that he had taken advantage of her. No matter which one it was, she was not willing to admit it. Therefore, she could only remain silent for the time being. Lin Yi couldn't help but chuckle. Xiao So, weren't you very arrogant before? Looking at it, you don't seem to be as good as my second cousin-in-law from the lower realm. Lin Yi also emphasized the words, lower realm, but the effect at the moment was the opposite. The sarcasm was stronger. Chapter 4685. With her status, what good things could she possibly take out? Be careful that she doesn't reveal the secrets of the D family. Otherwise, what could compare to this millennium-illuminating vine? Xiao So was indeed shocked for a moment. However, after thinking about it carefully, she was certain that Bailey Hongzhuang could not possibly take out anything valuable. Therefore, The only possibility was that this item came from the D family. Although I'm from the lower realm, I have one good thing about me. That is, I won't take out my family's things for my own benefit, Bailey Hongzhuang said calmly. Xiao Sou's face sank when she heard this. She was so angry that she was about to go crazy. She really wanted to know what Bailey Hongzhuang had taken out in exchange. However, she could not figure it out no matter how hard she tried. Little girl, I like honest people. If you can really do what you've said, I'll give you everything I have here. Just like how you won't take advantage of me, an old man like me won't take advantage of you either. The stall owner looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with admiration and excitement in his eyes. In fact, he could not help but feel excited when he saw the contents of the slip of paper. It was only because he forcefully suppressed his emotions that he did not lose his composure in front of everyone. Although he also doubted whether Bailey Hongzhuang was telling the truth, judging from Bailey Hongzhuang's current performance, he still believed her. Compared to Xiao Sou and the others, this little girl was more reliable. He had met many people, but Bailey Hongzhuang had a calm and collected aura. More importantly, she had a clear conscience. The stall owner's words were no different from a heavy bomb exploding in everyone's hearts. They had already found it hard to accept when they had taken away the Millennium Illuminating Vine. Now, the stall owner was actually saying that he wanted to give everything to Bailey Hongzhuang. One must know that the treasures here were all extremely precious. Every single one of them had been painstakingly exchanged for. Now, he was actually giving everything to Bailey Hongzhuang. This was simply too crazy. The more it was like this, the more everyone was curious about what Bailey Hongzhuang had to offer in exchange. Since Bailey Hongzhuang's things could be exchanged for so many things, it meant that her things were worth more. Xiao Sou and the others felt that the stall owner was crazy. If he wasn't crazy, he wouldn't have made such a choice. Senior, the item I took out is actually not that valuable. Bailey Hongzhuang could not help but say. However, the stall owner waved his hand. Perhaps your item isn't that valuable, but in my eyes, it's worth it. Bailey Hongzhuang was slightly startled, but she immediately understood what the stall owner meant. The next moment, she took out a pen and paper and started writing again. But this time, the content she wrote was much more than the last time. Then, Bailey Hongzhuang handed it over to the stall owner. Senior, the content is all here. If you have any questions, you can look for me at the D family's pill shop. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled gently. The stall owner took the slip of paper and read it. The look in his eyes changed slightly. He then rolled up the items on the stall and handed them over to Bailey Hongzhuang. Little girl, I believe in you. All right, today's business is done. You may all disperse. I'm leaving as well. Just as he finished speaking, the stall owner walked out of the crowd suavely and quickly disappeared. Let's go as well. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled gently. Chapter 4686. Lin Qianqian and Lin Taxing looked at each other. Such a result was really beyond their expectations. For a time, everyone's covetous eyes fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. She had too many treasures on her now. Noticing this, Lin Taxing immediately said, "Let's go back first." They were now being targeted by so many people. Although the underground market was relatively safe, the treasures were too coveted, so no one could say what would happen. Therefore, the best way now was to go back immediately. In this way, at least many people could dispel their thoughts. Originally, Lin Yi wanted to ask Bailey Hongzhuang what she exchanged for. Why did she exchange so many treasures with just a few words? But now, after Lin Taxing's reminder, she realized that their current situation was not very good. In the next moment, everyone in the Lin family tacitly surrounded Bailey Hongzhuang and left the underground market without hesitation. Although everyone was envious, they also understood that the Lin family and the D family were behemoths that they could not afford to offend. Despite the burning desire in their hearts, the facts calmed them down. It was obviously not a good deal to suffer a calamity for this treasure. Ordinary cultivators naturally had such concerns, but Xiao Sou and Jun Lingshuan obviously did not. Xiao Sou was determined to get this Millennium Illuminating Vine. Naturally, she could not watch Bailey Hongzhuang take it away. After all, this was her biggest hope. Whether she could secure the position of the Holy Maiden of Light depended on the illuminating vine. Jun Lingxuan naturally knew Xiao Sou's thoughts. The two looked at each other and immediately chased after her. After walking out of the underground market, everyone in the Lin family did not relax their vigilance. They still went back at the fastest speed. Fortunately, this underground market is not far from our D family. Let's go there quickly. Lin Taxing looked dignified. In my opinion, Xiao Sou will not give up. The illuminating vine is too useful for her now. Even if she won't give up, so what? Lin Chanqian's eyes were cold. Now that the Xiao family and the Jun family are so close, they are likely to become our enemies in the future. In any case, this illuminating vine must not fall into the hands of Xiao Sou. Once she becomes the Holy Maiden of Light, it will not benefit us. Lin Taxing's gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. Hongzhuang, when you go back later, go into seclusion. Don't worry about anything else. As long as you absorb the energy of the illuminating vine, it will be useless even if Xiao Sou's people. He was sure that Xiao Sei would invite the elders of her family over as soon as possible. After all, the Xiao family and the Di family had not completely fallen out with each other. If the elders of the Xiao family were to appear, the Di family would be put in a very difficult position. However, if the illuminating vine had been consumed, then the situation would be different. The Di family would not be put in a difficult position because of this. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang nodded without hesitation. I understand. In fact, her thoughts were the same as Lin Taxing's. The longer the illuminating vine was kept, the greater the trouble. She believed that it would not take long for this news to spread and everyone would know about it. Therefore, the only way was to use it. Chapter 4687. The fact was just as Lin Taxing expected. Although Xiao Sou was extremely unwilling, she did not dare to snatch it directly. After all, she did not represent herself at this moment, but also the entire family. If she snatched something from the Di family in public, it would really be a falling out. Even though she had a high status in the family, she could not bear this kind of thing. Therefore, she rushed back to the Xiao family's residence immediately. She wanted to find an elder to represent her. She believed that in her current situation, the family would definitely try their best to help her get the illuminating vine. Once she became the Lady of Light, it would bring a lot of benefits to the family. It was not until Bailey Hongzhuang and her party returned safely to the medicinal shop that everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Go ahead, Lin Taxing said. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly and walked in without hesitation. Di Qiuan saw that Bailey Hongzhuang left in a hurry as soon as she came back, and a trace of doubt appeared in his eyes. When he saw Lin Yi and others looking nervous, he couldn't help but ask, what happened? Great Elder, I'm afraid there will be some trouble that requires your help later, Lin Taxing said. Di Qiuan had a puzzled look, and his expression became complicated. Did you get into trouble outside? Lin Qianqian shook her head, and then told Di Qiuan everything that happened before. However, Di Qiuan was stunned after listening to all this. You mean that the second young madam just wrote a few words and got the illuminating vine? Great Elder, I know you think it's incredible. In fact, we all think so, but all of this is true. We didn't lie to you. Lin Yi couldn't help but explain. Di Qiuan really felt that this matter was unbelievable, but he also understood that it was impossible for everyone to lie to him about this kind of thing. As the great elder of the Di family, he naturally knew that the most important thing at the moment was not to study how Bailey Hongzhuang did all this, but to come up with countermeasures. Taxing, go back and invite Great Elder Lin over. Yes. Di Qiuan's expression was solemn. According to the younger generation, Xiao Sou and Jun Lingxuan were very close. Perhaps the elders of the Xiao family and the Jun family would come together later. If a fight broke out, he might not be a match for them alone. It would be safer if the first elder of the Lin clan came. Bailey Hongzhuang walked into the house and began to eat the light vine. The light vine was a very magical plant that could be eaten directly. The energy inside was in the form of a liquid and was very gentle. It was not harmful to the cultivator. Bailey Hongzhuang only felt a sweet energy flow into her mouth. This energy was extremely pure and exuded a dense aura of light. As the energy entered her body, she could clearly feel the joy of the light energy in her body. The energy gradually spread out, and the light energy rapidly grew as if it was being nourished. In a short period of time, Bailey Hongzhuang found herself on the verge of a breakthrough. Seeing this, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but sigh. Sure enough, it's the illuminating vine. The effect is amazing. I thought it would take some time for me to break through again. I didn't expect to break through immediately after eating the illuminating vine. Chapter 4688. After absorbing the power of the light vine, Bailey Hongzhuang quickly broke through to the star light fourth order. Since she went to the D family, her cultivation had been growing rapidly in the rich vitality environment. In a short time, she had broken through from the starlight realm to the starlight realm. However, as she adapted to the rich vitality environment, her cultivation speed gradually stabilized. For the upcoming Immortal Cloud Secret Realm, everyone was working hard to cultivate in order to get good opportunities in the Immortal Cloud Secret Realm. Similarly, everyone knew in their hearts that they were obviously several levels weaker than the children of these aristocratic families. Even if they were desperately chasing now, there was too little time left for them. They could only do their best. Bailey Hongzhuang wanted to try her best to break through to the Starlight Fourth Order before entering the Immortal Cloud Secret Realm. She didn't expect to reach it not long after coming to Chishui City. With the breakthrough in cultivation, the power of the light vine was still exuding. Bailey Hongzhuang clearly felt that the light power in her body had been cleansed by the light vine. Originally, her light power was already very pure. At this moment, after being cleansed, it exuded a bright and charming luster, shining like a star. One could feel the sacred and warm aura just by getting close. Bailey Hongzhuang secretly exclaimed in her heart, "It is indeed a 1,000-year-old light vine. It is really helpful to light attribute cultivators." Even if her cultivation didn't break through, the change in power alone could improve her combat power by a level. Lin Qianqian and others had been staying in the medicinal shop. After feeling the aura of Bailey Hongzhuang's breakthrough, everyone breathed a sigh of relief, and a smile appeared on their faces. The power of the light vine had been absorbed. Even if the people of the Shao family came, it would be useless. When Bewitching and others came back, they found that all the young children of the Lin family were gathered here. A hint of surprise suddenly appeared on their faces. "What's wrong with you? Did something happen?" Di Xiaofeng looked at Lin Qianqian. His intuition told him that they were not here to play. "Big cousin, you are finally back." Lin Yi was happy as soon as she saw Di Xiaofeng. "I went out with my second cousin-in-law just now. As a result, we made a lot of noise. Fortunately, my sister found us. Otherwise, it would be difficult for us to come back safely." Listening to Lin Yi's words, a hint of nervousness suddenly appeared on Di Beichun's face. "How is Hongzhuang?" "Second cousin, don't worry. Nothing happened. Second cousin-in-law is fine." Di Beichun was relieved when he heard the words. Immediately afterward, Lin Yi told him what happened before. After listening to all this, in addition to Di Beichun, Di Xiaofeng and the others' faces were also full of astonishment. Sister-in-law is so powerful? Di Xiaofeng was dumbfounded. They all knew the value of the Millennium Illuminating Vine. Even if he was present, he wouldn't be able to exchange for it. Lin Yi nodded again and again. "Yes, I found that second cousin-in-law is actually very powerful. Previously, even when facing Xiao So, she was not at a disadvantage at all. That momentum, tsk, I'm convinced." Not only Lin Yi, but Lin Qianqian on the side also nodded secretly. She was also convinced about this. "Is Hongzhuang taking the illuminating vine now?" Di Beichun asked aloud. Chapter 4689. I didn't expect Xiao So to be together with Jun Lingxuan in the blink of an eye. Looks like we have to make some preparations. Di Xiaofeng's expression darkened. Originally, according to the patriarch's plan, although the Shao family would definitely be dissatisfied with the cancellation of the marriage, as long as they spent a certain amount of time and resources, it was still possible to make up for this relationship. However, he didn't expect that the Shao family and the Jun family would ally together. This relationship would probably be irreparable. That's right. According to what I saw today, Jun Lingxuan is probably pursuing Xiao Sou, and Xiao Sou didn't reject Jun Lingxuan. If this situation continues, the Xiao family and the Jun family might ally together in the future, which would be a big problem for us. Lin Qianqian's expression darkened. The Lin family and the D family were originally on the same side. If the other party targeted the D family, they would naturally target the Lin family as well. You all did well today. It's good that the light vine didn't fall into Xiao Sou's hands, Dijizai said slowly. Dijizai said slowly. Although he was somewhat dissatisfied with Di Beichen's previous choice, the matter had already reached this point. He could only minimize the loss. The news that Xiao Sou is going to take over the position of the Holy Maiden has been spreading for a long time, but until now, she hasn't really taken over. I heard that the light vine has the ability to purify talents. Could it be that she can't directly become the Lady of Light? Di Xiaofeng suddenly said. Regarding this, he actually had doubts in his heart for a long time. He wasn't the only one. Many people had such guesses in their hearts because this rumor had been spreading for too long. If the previous Holy Maiden was still around, Xiao Sou wouldn't be a problem. However, the Holy Maiden hadn't appeared for a long time. Logically speaking, if someone was qualified for this position, the Holy Assembly would immediately push her to the position. There must be something wrong with not having a successor for so long. Following Di Xiaofeng's words, Lin Qianqian and the others also had a thoughtful look in their eyes. Yes, in fact, I also suspect that there might be some problems. If it was before, it would be fine. Now that the Xiao family and the Jun family are connected, it is best for us that Xiao Sou can't become the Holy Maiden of Light, said Dai Haoan. The great elder also felt helpless about the news that the Xiao family and Jun family were together. He didn't expect the Xiao family to make such a choice. In fact, the great elder's eyes. He didn't expect Xiao family to do this, of the great. He couldn't help but be angry. Until Di Chuyuan left, Lin Yi couldn't help but ask, Big cousin, where did you go today? Don't mention it. Dijai's face was gloomy. As soon as I went out, I met those annoying guys from the Jun family. I don't know if they are targeting us specifically. We bumped into them not long after going out. Chapter 4690. Now we are indeed in trouble. Dai Haoan sighed. He didn't expect to encounter such a situation after going out today. He couldn't help but look at Di Beichen helplessly. Beichen, you are a little too impulsive today. Dai Haoan's face was also gloomy and complicated. You shouldn't have agreed to this bet at all. This is simply a losing game. However, Di Beichen just remained silent. His handsome face faintly showed a bit of anger. Forget it. Since this has already happened, then let's not bother about it anymore, said Di Xiaofeng. Lin Qianqian frowned slightly. What happened? Why are your faces so solemn? We met the Jun family before. They have been making a fuss about us not being able to invite an 8th-grade alchemist this time. Their words were full of ridicule. Di Beichen was dissatisfied, so he argued with them for a while. As a result, they made a bet. If we get fewer slots than them in this alchemy competition, then we will give all the family slots to them. On the contrary, they will give all the slots to us. Dai Haoan explained aloud. As soon as these words came out, Lin Yi and others couldn't help but be dumbfounded. Second cousin, are you crazy? Lin Yi looked at Di Beichen in disbelief. Originally, the Di family only had 5 slots. If they don't even have these 5 slots, what should they do? In the current situation, this was a dead end. It was easy to give out 5 slots, but if they wanted to get 5 slots from other places, they would have to pay a huge price. The most important thing was that the slots were so tight. Even if they were willing to exchange something, the other party might not agree. Lin Qianqian also felt incredulous. You actually agreed to such a bet? Di Xiaofeng sighed helplessly. You saw the situation at that time. If you don't agree, it is equivalent to admitting that we are all cowards. Seeing this, Lin Qianqian glanced at Di Beichen and others speechlessly. I really don't understand why you men are so prideful. The final interest is the most important. The Jun family managed to invite Medicine Master Qin this time, so it's inevitable that they'll get a spot. On the other hand, whether it's you or us, none of us are a match for them. We were already at a disadvantage and now we're completely finished. Just as everyone was gloomy, Di Beichen and Di Xiaofeng exchanged a look with each other. There was no depression in their eyes, on the contrary, there was a bit of a smile. After leaving the underground market, Jun Lingxuan returned to his family. Although he had failed to help Xiao Shou obtain the light vine, he had made some progress overall. His efforts had not been in vain. As soon as he returned to his residence, he found that his family's disciples were chatting in full swing. The Di family is really digging their own graves this time. I thought that the successor of the Di family would be someone amazing. I didn't expect him to be such an idiot. He didn't even care about the interests of the Di family in a fit of anger. What a joke. We'll definitely win this time. When we get their 5 slots back, we'll really have a good show to watch. As Jun Lingxuan returned, the great elder of the Jun family, Jun Xianshao, also appeared. After hearing everyone's discussion, Jun Xianshao roughly understood the situation, and a smile suddenly appeared on his lips. Chapter 4691. Great Elder, we were just following your instructions, but we didn't expect the Di family's second young master to be so impatient. After being provoked a few times, he agreed. I think they must be regretting it now. Jun Liyun, the second young master of the Jun family, said with a smile. Jun Lingxuan frowned slightly. If it was before, he wouldn't have thought that there was anything wrong with this news. However, after seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's performance in the underground market, he suddenly felt that he had underestimated Bailey Hongzhuang. They knew that this was an impossible bet, but they still agreed. Could there be a trap? Jun Lingxuan couldn't help but ask. Hearing this, Jun Liyun hurriedly waved his hand. How is that possible? With the current situation, the Di family can't make a comeback. I've been paying attention to the Di family's actions recently. Although their people are trying to find a way to contact an 8th grade alchemist, it's impossible to do so at this time. In the past 2 days, they seem to have given up on the idea of finding a 9th grade alchemist. Jun Xuanxiao's lips curled into a proud smile. For so many years, the Jun family had been suppressed by the Di family. In order to break this situation, the Jun family had put in a lot of effort over the years. This time, in the Immortal Cloud secret realm, they would crush the Di family. He wanted to take away all the Di family's spots, so that none of the Di family's cultivators could enter. In this way, he believed that the Di family would definitely become a joke. Great Elder, I have something to say. Jun Lingxuan slowly said. Please speak, great young master. Then, Jun Lingxuan told them what happened in the underground market. After hearing this, everyone's hearts were filled with shock. It can't be? That woman from the lower realm actually took out something to exchange for the light vine? Jun Liyun's face was filled with confusion. This was simply unbelievable. Jun Lingxuan looked serious. I was there at the time. I saw everything clearly. It's definitely not fake. Jun Xuanxiao's expression also changed a little. His eyes were deep and solemn. We might have underestimated her before. Now that I think about it, the Di family is a big family after all. If their daughter-in-law is just an ordinary girl, they won't accept her so easily. Moreover, they actually gave up on the marriage alliance with the Shao clan for a woman from the lower realm. This point is worthy of consideration. Jun Xianshao slowly analyzed. You should pay more attention in the next few days. I'm afraid this woman is quite capable. The Millennium Illuminating Vine is no ordinary item. Since Bailey Hongzhuang was able to trade it back, the item she took out must be extraordinary as well. Great Elder, I also think that we underestimated her before. Do you think there is a problem with the second young master of the Di family agreeing to our bet? Jun Lingxuan pondered. Hearing this, Jun Xianshao was silent for a moment. Then he said, It shouldn't be. At this time, it is impossible for the Di family to produce an 8th-level alchemist. Great Elder is right. Big brother, don't worry. Jun Liyun couldn't help but say, This time we will definitely win. Seeing that everyone was so convinced, Jun Lingxuan also nodded and suppressed the uneasiness in his heart. Perhaps he was really overthinking all this. Chapter 4692. Xiao Shou immediately returned to her family and went to look for the clan elder. Elder, quickly bring me to the D family's residence. Xiao Shou said as soon as she saw the elder. Hearing this, the great elder was puzzled. Eldest miss, why do you suddenly want to go to the D family's residence? They have the light vine. You should know how important this thing is to me. Father has said before that if we encounter something similar to the light vine, no matter the price, as long as it is within the family's ability to bear, we will definitely help me exchange it for it. You remember this, right? Hearing this, Xiao Jinfeng's expression turned serious. Eldest miss, don't worry. I will definitely think of a way to obtain this light vine. Xiao Jinfeng's heart immediately became lively. The D family has wronged us before. If we propose that as long as they are willing to exchange the light vine with us, we will write off our previous enmity. I'm sure they will agree. If it was any other family, it would be very difficult for them to obtain the light vine. However, the other party was the D family, so it was much easier to solve this problem. However, after hearing Xiao Jinfeng's words, Xiao Shou fell into silence. After hesitating for a while, she said, Great Elder, I will be going with Jun Lingxuan today. As soon as these words were spoken, Xiao Jinfeng was slightly startled. Looking at Xiao Seiwu's guilty expression, he immediately understood and his expression became extremely ugly. What a fool. Do you know what it means for you to be going with Jun Lingxuan today? Previously, when the D family rejected the engagement, I felt that I had lost face. Our family and the D family have been very close all these years. Even though the Jun family has always wanted to be on good terms with us, the head of the family has never been too close. You should know the reason for this. Now that you and Jun Lingxuan have appeared in front of the D family at this juncture, what do you think they will think? I didn't think so much at the time. Xiao Shou said gloomily. Alas. Xiao Jinfeng sighed. If you were alone, the possibility of success would not be small. But in the current situation, the possibility is not high. Xiao Shou immediately became anxious. Great Elder, you know how important this radiant vine is to me. No matter what, you have to help me get it. Let's go now and try our best. Xiao Jinfeng immediately took Xiao Shou to the D family's residence. However, halfway there, they suddenly met two people. Elder Xiao, are you heading to the D family's elixir shop? Jun Xianxiao smiled as he looked at Xiao Jinfeng. Do you need my help? Jun Lingxuan smiled at Xiao Shou. After he told the great elder about what had happened, the great elder brought him to the path leading to the D family's medicine store and waited for them to arrive. When he saw Jun Xianxiao, Xiao Jinfeng frowned slightly. A complicated light flashed in his eyes. If he went with Jun Xianxiao at this moment, it would be tantamount to telling the D family that they had allied with the Jun family. Thank you for your kindness, Elder Jun. We will handle this matter ourselves. Xiao Jinfeng declined politely. Hearing Xiao Jinfeng's answer, Jun Xianxiao was not surprised. He smiled faintly and said, Elder Xiao, I understand your concerns. But think about it, this radiant vine is too important to Miss Xiao. Chapter 4693. I understand Elder Jun's good intentions, but this is a matter between us and the D family. It's better for us to deal with it ourselves. Xiao Jinfeng's attitude was still firm. He couldn't agree to this kind of thing without the family head's consent. Elder Xiao, we are doing this out of good intentions. Jun Lingxuan couldn't help but say, if the D family was willing to give it to us, they would have done so already. Even if we go now, we'll get the same answer. That's right. If we go and help them, we can put some pressure on them and force them to give in, Jun Xianxiao said slowly. After Xiao Shou heard this, an anxious expression appeared on her face. Great Elder, this radiant vine is really important to me. She couldn't help but feel depressed when she thought about how the light vine was in Bailey Hongzhuang's hands. Just as she hated Bailey Hongzhuang didn't like her either. She probably wouldn't agree at all. Xiao Jinfeng's mood was also very complicated. This light vine was really important to Miss Xiao. Before they could find another way, this light vine was their only chance. Jun Xuanxiao's words made sense. It wouldn't be easy to find a way to exchange for it. Most importantly, the D family probably already believed that they were in cahoots with the Jun family. Even if he tried to explain it now, it would be useless. After all, many people had seen what happened before. In the end, Xiao Shou was too impulsive before. Elder Xiao, you also know that this is the only chance for Miss Xiao to become the real Holy Maiden of Light. Once she misses it, it won't be so easy to find another suitable opportunity. Jun Xuanxiao's eyes were filled with a deep and clear light, but his voice was very calm. As soon as he said this, Xiao Jinfeng and Xiao Sou's faces both changed. Only they and a few people in the Holy Assembly knew about this. It had never been spread. How did the Jun family know about it? Now, the outside world basically believed that Xiao Shou would become the Saint of Light. They didn't know that there was still a fine line between the two. If the Jun family spread this news, it would be extremely disadvantageous for them. Elder Jun. Xiao Jinfeng frowned. Elder Xiao, this is just a suggestion. You should know that we have been trying to get on good terms with you all these years, but you always keep us at arm's length. In fact, I just want to help today. I don't have any other thoughts. Jun Xianxiao smiled. If Elder Xiao doesn't need us, then we'll take our leave first. As soon as he finished speaking, Jun Xianxiao prepared to leave. Xiao Jinfeng's voice rang out. Although the D family had expected that Xiao Shou and the others would come, they didn't expect that the Jun family would also come with them. For a moment, everyone's eyes darkened. If they hadn't been sure that the Xiao family and the Jun family had formed an alliance before, then the actions of the other party had clearly confirmed it. Is Elder Di Chuyuan here? Xiao Jinfeng walked in and asked with a smile after seeing the young disciples of the Di family and Lin family. Elder Xiao is currently cultivating in his room. May I know why Elder Xiao is here? Di Xiaofeng slowly asked. Chapter 4694. Jun Lingshuan saw that Di Xiaofeng completely ignored his existence, and his face turned cold. Jun Xianxiao, who was on the side, gave him a wink. There was always a faint smile on his face. He didn't take all this to heart at all. From the moment they appeared together with Xiao Jinfeng, their goal had already been achieved. As for whether they could get the light vine or not, he didn't care at all. I heard that the D family got a light vine in the underground market. This light vine is very useful to sow. I hope you can give it to us. As for the reward, we will never let you suffer a loss. We will definitely take out something of equal value in exchange. Can you please invite Elder Di Chuyuan out? Seeing that Xiao Jinfeng's attitude was not bad, Di Xiaofeng nodded. Elder Xiao, please wait for a moment. I will go and invite the great elder. After Xiao Shou sat down, her eyes fell on Di Beichen. Just like the first time she saw Di Beichen, the feeling of her heart still hadn't dissipated. That was a face that was enough to fascinate any woman. Even if she didn't think about it anymore, she would still think about it at some point. Noticing Xiao Shou's slightly eager gaze, Lin Yi and Lin Qianqian couldn't help but look at each other. It seemed that Xiao Shou really had feelings for Di Beichen. However, Di Beichen never looked at Xiao Shou from beginning to end. At this moment, he was thinking about how his wife was absorbing the light vine. The Jun family's elders came together at this moment with the intention of pressuring them. Once the conflict broke out, he only hoped that Hong Zhuang would not be affected. Not long after, Di Chuyuan came out. Elder Xiao. Di Chuyuan's face was full of smiles, and he cupped his hands to Xiao Jinfeng. I didn't expect to see you today. Xiao Jinfeng also smiled and cupped his hands. Long time no see, Elder Di. Elder Di, we meet again. Jun Xianxiao stood up and smiled. Seeing Jun Xianxiao, the smile on Di Chuyuan's face suddenly disappeared, and his eyes became cold. Elder Xiao, why are you here with Elder Jun today? Compared to his previous eagerness, Di Chuyuan's voice had become calm, with a hint of coldness. It seemed that the situation was indeed developing in the worst direction. The Xiao family had actually joined forces with the Jun family. He had to send this news back to his family as soon as possible so that his family could make preparations. Xiao Jinfeng secretly sighed when he sensed the change in Di Chuyuan's attitude. Unfortunately, he no longer had any other choice. We met by chance, Jun Xianxiao said with a faint smile. Obviously, no one would believe such an excuse. Xiao Jinfeng quickly repeated the reason for his visit. Elder D, I hope you can help us. Elder D, the D family and the Xiao family have been on good terms all these years. For the sake of our friendship, you should agree no matter what, right? Jun Xianxiao said matter-of-factly. Hearing this, Di Chuyuan frowned and said coldly, whether I agree or not, what does it have to do with you? Xiao Jinfeng's heart thumped when he saw Jun Xianxiao speak at this time. When he heard his threatening words, he understood that this matter was not easy to negotiate. Chapter 4695. Di Chuyuan, I'm just saying a few words. What's the meaning of your attitude? Jun Xuanxiao's face turned cold. He didn't even bother to continue his previous hypocrisy. Instead, he directly confronted Di Chuyuan. Di Chuyuan and Jun Xianxiao had always hated each other for so many years. Naturally, Di Chuyuan knew that everything this guy did before was just a disguise. Now that the other party showed his true face, Di Chuyuan felt much more at ease. With our relationship, do you think it is possible for us to have a good talk? Di Chuyuan sneered. It seems that you know it very well in your heart. Jun Xianxiao sneered. To tell you the truth, in this immortal cloud's secret realm, I will make you return in failure. You won't get a single spot. Then you don't have to worry about it. Di Chuyuan's momentum was not weak at all. Jun Xuanxiao's eyes were cold. You're so stubborn. It's not long before the competition starts. I want to see how long you can hold on. You'd better take care of yourself. Maybe you will lose to us. Are you dreaming? The two alchemists in your family who can't reach the 8th grade in their lifetime want to defeat us? It's simply a pipe dream. Jun Xianxiao ridiculed mercilessly. If it were other things, he would be worried that the D family might have a backup plan. But in this matter, he had already determined that the D family had absolutely no possibility of turning the tables. You are not welcome here. You can leave now, Di Chuyuan said coldly. Yes, you know that you are not welcome, but you still like to come here. The Jun family is really thick-skinned. Lin Yi's eyes were full of disgust. Di Xiaofeng and others also looked at them coldly. Leave quickly. Don't stay here and be an eyesore. Seeing everyone's attitude, Jun Xianxiao and Jun Lingshuan's faces were extremely ugly. I am here to help Elder Xiao today. I can't leave without completing the task, Jun Xianxiao said aloud. Hearing this, Di Chuyuan looked at Xiao Jinfeng. Elder Xiao, is this your idea? Elder Xiao looked embarrassed. He really regretted it now. If he knew that this would be the situation, he would never have agreed to come with Jun Xianxiao. There was no need to talk. The other party directly rejected him. If it were him, he would definitely make the same response. Great Elder, Hong Zhuang has already absorbed the energy of the bright vine. There are no more bright vines to exchange, Di Beichen said slowly. Di Chuyuan nodded and looked at Xiao Jinfeng. Elder Xiao, you heard it. We can't do anything about it. Xiao Jinfeng had a helpless look on his face. He understood that after today's incident, their relationship with the Di family would probably be broken. When Xiao So heard this, she was unhappy. What do you mean? Can't you just brush us off? She had set her eyes on the light vine first. Now that it had been snatched away by Bailey Hongzhuang, she could not accept it. Oh! Di Chuyuan's expression turned cold. According to Miss Xiao, I lied to you on purpose? Isn't it obvious? Xiao So said, we already said that we won't treat you badly. This thing is very useful to me. At this time, Di Beichen also spoke up. The bright light vine is very helpful to anyone, and it will also be of great help to my wife. Seeing that the person who spoke was Di Beichen, Xiao So softened her tone and said, I am of the light attribute. The bright vine is very helpful to me. Chapter 4696. Di Beichen's voice was low. Xiao So was dumbfounded after hearing this. She also has the light attribute? Lin Yi stood up. Yes, my second cousin-in-law also has the light attribute, and her talent level is not weak. Miss Lin's words are interesting. No matter how high Miss Bailey's talent level is, can it be higher than this little girl? Jun Lingshuan couldn't help but chuckle. As soon as these words came out, Lin Yi was a little speechless. She only knew that her second cousin-in-law's talent level was not weak, but she wasn't sure what level it was. This is not necessarily the case. Bewitching said calmly. According to his judgment, Hong Zhuang's talent level was not weaker than Xiao Shou. On the contrary, she might be stronger than Xiao Shou. However, no one believed Bewitching's words at all. In any case, we can't give you this light vine anymore, said Lin Qianqian. You've gone too far. Xiao Seiwu's face was filled with anger. For the sake of this light vine, it could be said that she had exhausted all means. One had to know that this thing itself was a very rare treasure. Wanting to find it was not an easy matter at all. It was precisely because of this that she did not hesitate to go when she knew that the light vine would appear today. If she missed this opportunity, she really didn't know when she could find it again. She couldn't accept the opportunity to slip away in front of her eyes. Xiao Shou, I don't understand what you are saying. Seeing the other party like this, Lin Yi was unhappy. Obtaining the light vine before was based on various means. My second cousin-in-law obtained the light vine because of her ability. This thing is not yours. What's wrong with not giving it to you? That's right. Miss Xiao is probably used to being spoiled at home. You have forgotten that we are not in the Xiao family. There is no need to endure your unreasonable behavior, said Lin Qianqian sarcastically. Xiao Shou's face was pale. When she was about to argue again, Xiao Jinfeng stopped her and shook his head slightly, motioning her to stop talking. At this point, it didn't make any sense to say more. Regardless of whether this light vine was used or not, the D family had made up their mind not to hand it over. Let's go. Xiao Jinfeng sighed. Hearing this, Xiao Shou looked unwilling, but she didn't want to leave at all. Seeing this, Jun Xianxiao couldn't help but say, Great Elder Xiao, since this thing is so important to Miss Xiao, it's a pity to leave it like this. Xiao Shou's eyes lit up when she heard this. She was indeed unwilling to give up. Xianxiao said, It's simple. It's actually very simple. If they don't want to give it to you, just force them to. Jun Xianxiao smiled. I don't believe it's such a coincidence. The other party has the light attribute and absorbed the light vine immediately. According to Jun Xuanxiao's judgment, although Bailey Hongzhuang was Bewitching's wife, her status was definitely not comparable to the direct descendants of the D family. If it was someone else who took it, he could believe it. But now it was Bailey Hongzhuang who took it. There was no credibility at all. Jun Lingxuan also nodded. Yes, Miss Xiao. It's a pity to give it up like this. Bewitching looked at Jun Lingxuan coldly. According to your words, are you going to make a move? So what if we make a move? Jun Lingxuan sneered. Chapter 4697. Xiao Jinfeng originally didn't want to deepen the conflict with the D family, but after seeing his young lady's insistence, he hesitated in his heart. After all, this opportunity was too important for Xiao Shou. But when he thought of the friendship between them and the D family over the years, he didn't want to completely fall out with them. As long as you find Bailey Hongzhuang and prove to me that she has taken the light pain, then I will leave today. Xiao Shou insisted. Miss Xiao is really big, but you seem to have chosen the wrong place to behave atrociously. My D family is not a place for you to mess around. Not to mention that we are telling the truth, even if we are not, what can you do? If you really want to do it, then don't talk nonsense. Just do it. Bewitching's voice was extremely cold. If he had a good impression of the Xiao family when they agreed to break off the engagement, then now his impression of Xiao Shou and others was extremely bad. This was a completely self-righteous young lady who did whatever she wanted just because of her status. He hated people like this the most. Listening to Bewitching's words, Xiao Shou couldn't help but be stunned. She didn't care about what others said before, but Bewitching said so. Naturally, she couldn't help but feel a wave in her heart. I'm just fighting for what I need. Are you going to protect her like this? Xiao Shou couldn't help but ask. This woman is completely out of her mind. Why bother talking to him? Lin Qianqian rolled her eyes. She admitted that Xiao Shou's talent and strength were praiseworthy, but she had to say that this girl's brain circuit was really different from others. That's right. If my second cousin doesn't protect my second cousin-in-law, is he going to protect you? Lin Yi sneered. Xiao So was speechless by Linny. Her original depression suddenly turned into anger. She immediately said, "Great elder, since they don't care about their previous friendship, then we don't have to worry about it." She wanted to let Bewitching know how stupid it was to give up on her. Jun Xianxiao had been waiting for Xiao So to say this. He immediately showed a happy expression and said, "Miss Xiao, you're right. The D family has wronged you in the first place, yet they are still acting so tough. It's obvious that they don't have the sincerity to befriend you." As soon as he finished speaking, the origin energy in Jun Xuanxiao's body surged out. His powerful aura directly crushed toward Di Chuyuan. Di Chuyuan snorted coldly. With a wave of his right hand, he directly shattered the military academy's aura. "Since you want to snatch it by force, I'll accompany you to the end." Jun Xianxiao chuckled. "Di Chuyuan, you alone are no match for the two of us." Although Xiao Jinfeng had been hesitating, when Xiao So said those harsh words, he understood that today's situation could no longer be changed. Since he was destined to sever all ties with the D family, he had to at least snatch the light vine. Otherwise, he would have suffered a huge loss today. "Elder D, I'm sorry." Seeing this, Di Chuan's eyes were cold and gloomy. "In that case, there's no need to talk nonsense." After Di Xiaofeng and others on the side saw this scene, they also understood in their hearts that from today onwards, the Di family and the Xiao family could be said to have cut off all ties. "Elder Jun and Elder Xiao, what a great lineup. Do you think that only you have reinforcements and the D clan doesn't have any?" Chapter 4698. Hearing this familiar voice, Di Xiaofeng and the others all breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that the great elder's judgment was right. Fortunately, he had sent someone to invite the Lin family's elder over. Otherwise, they would be at a disadvantage if they fought at this moment. Lin Xuanren slowly walked over and stood beside Di Chuyuan without hesitation, glaring at Jun Xianxiao and Xiao Jinfeng. Seeing Lin Xuanren's appearance, Jun Xianxiao and Xiao Jinfeng couldn't help but look at each other, their gazes dignified. They originally wanted to take advantage of today's opportunity to quickly crush Di Chuyuan so that they could snatch the light vine. However, they didn't expect the Lin family's elder to rush over so quickly. One had to know that their cultivations were usually on par. If they had the same number of people, it wouldn't be possible to determine the winner in a short period of time. Once this matter was spread out, it wouldn't be good for any of their families. It seemed that they had lost their advantage. When I heard the news before, I didn't dare to believe it. I didn't expect the Xiao family to be connected with the Jun family. In my opinion, the reason you went to the D family to break off the engagement was just an excuse to form an alliance with the Xiao family. Lin Xuanren sneered. "If you want to break off contact with us, just say it. Why do you have to be so hypocritical?" As soon as these words came out, Xiao Jinfeng couldn't help but frown. "Elder Lin, what do you mean by this? We went there with good intentions. It's you who didn't care about our friendship." "Xiao Jinfeng, now that we are all here, you don't have to lie through your teeth. You have to understand that it was you who came to the D family and said that you wanted to break off the engagement. We agreed. Later, you said that you didn't want to break off the engagement, and we refused. In this way, we didn't do anything wrong at all. Not only that, in order to ease the many years of friendship, the D family also expressed goodwill to you. What you are doing now is obviously ungrateful. Don't think that it's okay to pour dirty water on the D family. No one is a fool. If this matter is spread out, everyone will naturally understand," Lin Xuanren said coldly. Hearing Lin Xuanren's words, all the disciples present couldn't help but look at each other in dismay. Previously, in order to give the Xiao clan face, the clan really didn't speak of the matter in detail. Only now did they understand what was going on. She didn't expect the Xiao family to go back on their word. In that case, the D family didn't do anything wrong. The Xiao clan is really too much. They think everything is up to them. Dijai's eyes were filled with disgust. It was only now that he realized what was going on. In that case, it wasn't entirely Di Beichen's fault. No matter who it was, they would have a temper. Whatever the other party said was the truth. Naturally, it would make people unhappy. Previously, I thought that we had mistreated the Xiao family and felt apologetic towards them. So this is the truth. Daehaeon also had a look of disbelief on his face. After Lin Xuanren revealed the truth, Xiao Jinfeng and Xiao Soa's faces swelled to the color of a pig's liver. Although they felt that the D family was indeed in the wrong, after hearing Lin Xuanren's words, they felt that the D family wasn't in the wrong. It was all their fault. Chapter 4699. Xiao Jinfeng naturally understood that it would not do them any good if they continued to talk like this. Elder Lin, we have indeed come here today to ask for Elder D's help. If they cared about our friendship, they would not be so perfunctory and say such obvious lies, Xiao Jinfeng said in a deep voice. However, just as Xiao Jinfeng finished speaking, the aura of a breakthrough spread over. This aura also contained the aura of the light attribute. Feeling this, Xiao Jinfeng's face suddenly became very ugly. Just now, he said that the D family deliberately said such words to brush them off. He did not expect that Bailey Hongzhuang would break through now. This aura of a breakthrough contained a strong light aura. They believed that there could not be such a coincidence in this world. This must be a breakthrough made after absorbing the light vine. Elder Xiao, you should believe us now, right? Di Chuyuan said in a deep voice. Xiao Jinfeng's face was full of embarrassment. This situation was completely beyond his expectations. For a moment, he did not know what to say. We have already made it very clear before. It's just that you are not willing to believe us, Di Xiaofeng said coldly. They actually used it. Xiao Sou could not help but be dumbfounded. This news made her feel even more desperate than if the D family had lied to her. If the D family had lied to her, then at least she still had a chance to obtain the light vine. However, now that the light vine had been absorbed, it meant that she no longer had any hope. Jun Xianxiao and Jun Lingxuan could not help but look at each other after noticing this scene. They did not expect all of this to be true. However, they did not take this matter to heart. Anyway, they had already achieved their goal of coming here today. All this time, they had wanted to destroy the alliance between the Xiao family and the D family and replace the D family. After today's incident, although this was indeed a misunderstanding, the gap between the two parties had been completely widened. It was basically impossible to restore it. As such, the best choice for the Xiao family was to ally with them. This was the best news for them. Since the matter has been clarified, then please leave. Di Chuyuan's expression was calm and cold, as if the people before him were just strangers. Now that things had developed to this point, he didn't want to say anything more. He just wanted to immediately report this news to the family so that the family could make preparations as soon as possible. Noticing Di Chuyuan's attitude, Xiao Jinfeng was also filled with regret. They had really failed at the last step this time. They had tried to steal a chicken but ended up losing the rice used to lure it. Unfortunately, there was no turning back now. After the Xiao family and the Jun family left, peace was finally restored. However, everyone's hearts were heavy. What happened today was obviously not a good thing for them. This meant that in the future, they would lose a helper and correspondingly have one more opponent. They had to be vigilant. Chu Yuan, in my opinion, this matter is not entirely a bad thing. Lin Xuanren said slowly, since the Xiao family has been planning to form an alliance with the Jun family for a long time, it's good that we know about it earlier. Otherwise, it would be really bad if we were to fall into their trap. Di Chuyuan nodded slightly. I understand what you mean. That being said, the family has still suffered losses. Chapter 4700. Di Chuyuan sighed faintly. Although he said so, he still felt helpless when he thought about the situation in front of him. The Jun family had been thinking of ways to deal with them all these years. In addition, no one had succeeded in inheriting the bloodline of their family for many years. Now, the power of the family's inheritance was gradually weakening. In order to not let the D family's disciples panic, they did not say anything about this. In fact, whether it was the family head or them, they were extremely worried about this matter. Once the Xiao family and the Jun family joined forces, they would have another threat. Not for other reasons, but because the Jin family also had a bloodline, but the strength of the bloodline was weaker than the Jun family's. Although they had not succeeded in inheriting the inheritance for so many years, no one could guarantee that they would succeed this time. If the Jun family and the Xiao family succeeded in inheriting the bloodline, the Di family would be in endless danger. Bailey Hongzhuang, who was cultivating, was completely unaware of what was happening outside. She was completely immersed in comprehending the power of light. Through the power of the illuminating vine, she successfully broke through 2 levels and reached the star light rank 6. This kind of harvest was already a pleasant surprise to her. However, after breaking through, she felt a mysterious power filling her mind, causing her originally chaotic feeling towards the power of light to gradually become clear. This feeling was as if a ray of light had suddenly appeared in a dense fog where he couldn't even see his own fingers, causing the surrounding fog to gradually fade away. At the same time, he also gained a little more understanding. Only after experiencing it personally would she understand how magical it was. It was because of this that Bailey Hongzhuang was still paying attention to the movements outside. She was worried that this matter would cause a conflict between the 2 families. In the end, she did not have the mood to care about this at all. She was completely immersed in comprehending the illuminating vine. She understood that this kind of opportunity was not easy to come by. The illuminating vine was definitely a treasure that could only be found by chance. She had to seize this opportunity. Originally, with her strength, she would be at the bottom of the list in the Immortal Cloud's secret realm. Moreover, now that she had offended Xiao Sou, she had unknowingly gained an extremely strong opponent. If she did not have the ability to protect herself, she would only be a burden to the Di clan. Time passed by slowly. Xiao He and Bai Shi felt the miraculous changes in Bailey Hongzhuang and their eyes were filled with astonishment. Immediately after, they realized that they could also feel the power of comprehension when they stood beside Bailey Hongzhuang. Immediately, they were immersed in the comprehension. Bailey Hongzhuang, who was immersed in her comprehension, only opened her eyes when she heard the sound of someone breaking through the shackles. His pitch-black eyes flashed with an unusually bright light before returning to their original black color. A faint smile appeared on her delicate and elegant face. Bailey Hongzhuang immediately understood that her understanding of the light attribute had already reached a new level. Although she did not know what level she was at least her control over the power of light was much stronger than before. When Bailey Hongzhuang walked out of the room, Bewitching immediately walked over. "My wife, you've come out of your closed-door cultivation." Bewitching smiled. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded gently. "What time is it now?" While she was comprehending, she only felt that time had passed in the blink of an eye. She did not realize how much time had passed. Chapter 4701. Second Mistress, you've finally come out. Di Yunhe let out a sigh of relief and relaxed. "Today is the day of the alchemy competition. We were worried that you wouldn't be able to come out today. We didn't know what to do." Di Hengyun smiled. With Bailey Hongzhuang's help, they had successfully reached the level of an 8 physique alchemist and would be able to enter the alchemy competition. However, they knew that Bailey Hongzhuang's alchemy skills were much better than theirs. After all, Bailey Hongzhuang only gave them a few pointers and they managed to break through. This showed how powerful she was. With Bailey Hongzhuang participating in the alchemy competition, they believed that the Di family would be able to turn the tables. Just thinking about it made them extremely excited. Di Chuyuan's face was also full of smiles. He had been worried about this for a long time. Even when the 2 elders told him that he had become an 8-realm alchemist, he still had a look of disbelief on his face. He never expected Bailey Hongzhuang to be able to reach this step. Immediately, his view of Bailey Hongzhuang changed completely. Previously, he only thought that the second mistress was very intelligent and had the demeanor of a general. She was not petty at all and he admired her very much. But now, he understood that his second mistress was a complete genius. She was not any worse than the geniuses of the other clans. In fact, her alchemy skills had already surpassed most alchemy geniuses. If he had known this earlier, the Di family would not have had to worry about this. They already had a genius alchemist. "Second mistress, it's all thanks to you this time. If it wasn't for you, our Di clan would have really lost face this time." Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang smiled brightly. "I am also a member of the Di family. This is what I should do. Plus, the competition hasn't started yet. We can't be happy too early. Although that's the case, I believe that other than the Alchemist Guild, no other clans would be able to send out 3 8-realm alchemists at once. Hearing Di Hengyun's words, everyone nodded. They were quite familiar with the alchemy competition in the Immortal Cloud's secret realm. Even before the competition started, they could roughly predict the situation. After all, 8-realm alchemists were all famous people. Other than some new alchemists, most of them knew something about it. However, it was not easy to advance to level 8. Taking everything into account, there would not be many of them. Out. After Di Xiaofeng came out of the room, he saw Bailey Hongzhuang, a happy smile on his handsome face. It seems that today is the day for us to show our prowess. The Junes today. One had to know that they had spent a lot of effort in order to successfully make the other party place a huge bet. Their acting skills were also not easy. Today, it was time for them to reap the fruits of their labor. Just thinking about it made them excited. The June family has been too arrogant these days. Today, we can teach them a lesson, Bewitching said slowly. Ever since that day, the June family had been especially arrogant because the Shao family had formed an alliance with them. Chapter 4702. The Shao family and the June family have formed an alliance? Although Bailey Hongzhuang had guessed that there would be such a possibility before, she was still a little surprised when she heard it. After all, so many years of friendship shouldn't be overthrown so easily. Di Xiaofeng nodded slightly. It's a long story. Let's set off first. I'll tell you in detail on the way. Great Elder Di Chuyuan on the side noticed that Dai Haoan had also walked in, so he lowered his voice and said, "Don't overdo it later, in case the June family has the possibility of going back on their word." Hearing this, everyone nodded. Previously, except for a few of them, no one knew that the 7th Elder and the 8th Elder had been promoted to the 8th grade alchemist. It wasn't that they didn't believe Dai Haoan, Lin Yi, and others, but this matter must be pretended well to deceive the June family. Once more people knew, it was likely to be exposed. Instead of that, it was better to keep others in the dark. In this way, the best effect could be achieved. Dai Haoan and Di Zhi's quickly rushed over. After seeing that everyone had arrived, Di Chuyuan said, "Let's go." It didn't take long for everyone to arrive at the venue of the alchemy competition. Looking at the vast venue in front of her, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but be secretly speechless. This place was enough to accommodate tens of thousands of people, and the entire venue was circular. There was a circular high platform in the center. The high platform was so large that it could accommodate thousands of people. Around this circular high platform was a circle of stair-shaped seats. Here, everyone could clearly watch the competition on the high platform. At this moment, the surrounding area was already full of people, and almost every family occupied a place. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others also came to the Di family's place. Long ago, the Di family cultivators of the elixir shop had already come here to occupy seats. The Lin family members greeted the Di family after seeing them arrive. "You're here." Bailey Hongzhuang and others nodded with a smile, but when their eyes fell on the other side, the smile on their faces turned cold. "Oh, Di Chuyuan, you're finally here. You came so late. I thought you were embarrassed to come here because you knew you would only embarrass yourselves." Jun Xianshao sneered mercilessly. Di Chuyuan coldly glanced at Jun Xianshao and said, "Jun Xianshao, can you not bark like a mad dog every time you see us? I'm just telling the truth. Since I'm here, why should I be afraid of others talking about me?" Jun Xuanxiao's eyes were sinister and cold. "If you don't want to listen, then just hand over the 5 quotas of the Di family. The competition hasn't even started yet. Aren't you being too anxious? The final outcome is still uncertain." Hearing this, Jun Xianshao chuckled. "Do you think you can get a place in the alchemy competition by relying on your family's 2 grade 7 alchemists? If you want to blame someone, you can only blame your disciple for being impatient and wanting to bet with us. Now that you've lost all the quotas, I'm afraid you won't have a good time when you go back, right?" Di Chuyuan snorted coldly, turned his head and didn't say anything else. Seeing this, the Di family members became even more complacent. In their opinion, the D family was already showing weakness. Later, they were waiting to see the D family make a fool of themselves. Chapter 4703. The Jun family is really amazing recently. In the past, the D family had always been on top of them. But judging from today's situation, I'm afraid they will be on top of the D family. Haven't you heard? The Xiao family has now formed an alliance with the Jun family. They are so proud these days. I heard that the D family fell into the Jun family's trap this time. Alchemist Qin first promised to represent the D family in the competition, but he later betrayed them and went to the Jun family. As a result, the D family didn't have time to invite other alchemists. Otherwise, they wouldn't have fallen to this point today. Not only that, the D family's children also made a bet with the Jun family's children. Whoever loses today will have to hand over all their slots. In my opinion, the D family may not even get a slot in the Immortal Cloud's secret realm this time. I'm afraid the rankings of the D family and the Jun family will change in the future. Xiao Soa couldn't help but say after listening to everyone's discussion, "Great Elder, I think our previous choice was not wrong. The D family is so unappreciative. It's only right to give up on them. In my opinion, this Bewitching is also an impulsive person. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made such a bet with the Jun family that has no chance of winning." Hearing this, Xiao Jinfeng nodded. At first, he felt helpless about this situation, but now after noticing this scene, he also felt that maybe this development was not a bad thing. The development of the Jun family over the years could not be underestimated. The Immortal Cloud secret realm was also an extremely important opportunity for the young children to gain experience. If the D family really couldn't even get a slot this time, then it was very likely that they would be suppressed by the Jun family in the future. Big Sister did the right thing. I think the second young master of the D family is not worthy of Big Sister at all. What kind of eyesight can people from the lower realm have? He sacrificed the interests of the entire family for a moment of anger. In my opinion, if the D family falls into his hands in the future, I'm afraid it will be completely over. Xiao Sudong said aloud. Xiao Soa's face showed a smile. She firmly believed that the D family would regret it. After Lin Yi and others noticed this scene, the anger on their faces became stronger and stronger. This Jun family is too much. Lin Xuanren sighed. In this matter, the D family was indeed at a disadvantage. Even if they were unconvinced, there was nothing they could do. Not long after, the guild master of the Alchemist Guild arrived. Along with him were the guild masters of the various large elemental guilds. The Immortal Cloud secret realm that is held once every 10 years is about to open. The old rules are still to hold the alchemy competition. I believe everyone is very clear about the rules, so I won't say anything more. The president of the Alchemist Guild revealed a smile. This time, the judges are the 5 honorary elders of the Alchemist Guild. The appraisal is absolutely fair and just. If anyone has any objections, you can raise them. We will give you an explanation. All the major powers were very familiar with the rules of the alchemy competition. Every competition was very fair, so no one was worried about it. This time, only the top 100 alchemists will be able to get a slot to enter the Immortal Cloud secret realm. The first place will get 100 slots, the second place will get 99 slots, and so on, decreasing with each level. The competition is divided into 3 rounds. The scores of each round are averaged by the 5 judges, and the total score is the sum of the scores of the 3 rounds. The competition method will be drafted by the guild masters of the various large elemental guilds, and the Holy Light Assembly's president will draw lots to show fairness. Chapter 4704. Bailey Hongzhuang originally didn't know much about the rules of this competition. At this moment, after listening to all this, she couldn't help but sigh in her heart. This opening was really concise and comprehensive, there was no nonsense at all. However, the explanation was very detailed. After hearing it, almost no one could not understand the rules. The big families were already familiar with all this. Immediately, the alchemists representing the families walked up to the high platform. Di Yunhee and Di Hengyun jumped onto the high platform. Di Chu looked at Bailey Hongzhuang and said, "Second madam, it doesn't matter if you don't understand the rules, as long as you follow the rules, it will be fine. This kind of competition has always been very fair. Don't worry." Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. After a smile, she followed Di Yunhe and Di Hingyun up to the high platform. Recently, she was keenly aware that the Great Elder's attitude towards her had changed. This was not to say that the Great Elder did not pay enough attention to her before. This feeling was like the Great Elder's respect for her was mostly because of Di Beichen's face, but now it was completely because of her. Just after Bailey Hongzhuang walked up to the high platform, suddenly there was a cry of surprise not far from her, followed by a burst of worship and admiration. "Look, Ouyang Jifeng from the Ouyang family is participating as well. He is the alchemy genius of the Ouyang family. No one in the younger generation can compete with him in alchemy. He is only 28 years old, but he has already become an 8th-level alchemist. This talent is simply shocking. I heard that many seniors in the Alchemist Guild are full of praise for him. They call him a peerless genius in the alchemy world." Listening to everyone's discussion, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but look to the side. Sure enough, a tall and strong figure stood not far away. Among this group of alchemists who were on the older side, he was clearly an existence that people could notice at a glance. The man's face was indifferent and calm. There was a hint of arrogance between his eyebrows. In the face of countless people's gazes, he chose to completely ignore them. Although this was the first time she had seen this person, the fact that he was able to become an 8th-tier alchemist at such a young age was indeed something to be proud of. "Second madam, this Ouyang Jifeng is a genius alchemist who has been famous for a long time." Di Hingyun noticed Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze and couldn't help but explain, "However, in my opinion, second madam, you're better." Before learning about Bailey Hongzhuang's attainments in alchemy, Di Hingyun also felt that Ouyang Jifeng's fame was unparalleled, but now, his opinion had completely changed. His second young mistress was a true genius. After all, if it were Ouyang Jifeng, it would be impossible for him to casually guide a 7th-grade alchemist to advance. "That's right, I think so too," Di Yunhe said. Back then, they were also very envious of the Ouyang clan for having such a genius in alchemy. But now, there was no need to be envious. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curved into a faint smile. There were always many geniuses in this world. That was why they needed to constantly work hard. With Ouyang Jifeng's age, he was extremely eye-catching among the older alchemists. Therefore, Bailey Hongzhuang was also a unique existence. Chapter 4705. Who is this woman? Why is she on the stage as well? She seems to be a member of the Di family. I heard that the Di family didn't manage to invite a level 8 alchemist this time. Now, they are sending such a young girl to participate in the competition. Is the Di family out of desperation? Haven't they lost enough face? I think the Di family is really finished this time. They have lost their minds. Everyone shook their heads and sighed. The Di family had been exposed a lot recently, which made everyone think that the Di family was going downhill. As for the situation in front of them, everyone felt that it was even more incomprehensible. This was completely crazy. After Jun Lingshuan noticed this scene, a look of astonishment appeared on his face. He really did not expect that Bailey Hongzhuang would participate in this alchemy competition. Even a level 7 alchemist would find it difficult to win a place in the alchemy competition. Only a level 8 alchemist would have a certain chance of winning. A genius like Ouyang Jifeng was definitely a rare existence. It was already very difficult for one like him to appear. It was impossible for another one like him to appear. In his opinion, since the Di family didn't have a chance of winning this time, they should participate in the competition in a low-key manner. Now that Bailey Hongzhuang was on the stage, almost everyone's attention was attracted to her. It was difficult for people not to notice her. Jun Xianshao couldn't help but frown after noticing this scene. He had been dealing with the Di family for so many years, so he knew their tricks very well. However, the scene in front of him was completely out of the ordinary. Is the Di family crazy? How could they let a woman from the lower world participate in the alchemy competition? Xiao Sudong's face was full of disbelief. Because he was so surprised, his voice became sharper and louder. Originally, many families were curious about this matter, but they didn't understand the real situation. Now that they heard the Xiao family's words, they finally understood. Suddenly, their expressions became even more strange. A woman from the lower world participating in the alchemy competition? What a joke! Jun Wubin sneered. Xiao Soa glanced at Bailey Hongzhuang indifferently and said, "The D family has 3 places, but they only have 2 level 7 alchemists. That's why they let her come." In fact, this situation was not difficult to understand. Such an occasion was undoubtedly very helpful for alchemists. Coming here to gain experience could broaden one's horizons and learn a lot. If it was a direct descendant of the D family, then it would be strange for Bailey Hongzhuang to come here. Let's not talk about anything else. This woman is beautiful. In my opinion, this D clan's second young master is an idiot. He only cares about beauty and completely disregards his clan's reputation. This is already very obvious. Otherwise, the D family's second young master wouldn't have agreed to the D family's bet. You know, the D family will lose the last 5 places. The heir that the D family has been trying so hard to find all these years is a good-for-nothing. How terrible! The disciples of the Xiao family and the Jun family mercilessly slandered Bewitching and Bailey Hongzhuang. In fact, they felt that their judgment was very correct. It was precisely because of this that the surrounding families also believed in this idea. They sighed in their hearts even more deeply. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.